terms, and I didn't know that you could serve one and then come back and do another until recently.
Because you have a constitutional right to serve 2 terms. The 2 terms can be consecutive or can be anything else, provided you have served only 1 term. At any time you can come back. And it's like we copied that from the American Constitution.
And the other history also happening today is that we have a president who've actually gone through the entire political chain of this country. I'm referring to an assemblyman, later became a member of parliament, and then a deputy minister, and then a minister, and then a vice president, and then a president, now coming back as a president. And this is John Dramani Mahama, who has gone through the entire political chain of this country. Another history being made today is that we're going to have the first female vice president, who also will be taking in that oath and will be sworn in today by the Chief Justice. Another history being made today is that we're having the first president who will be holding the sword, if I'll put it aside, 3 times. And today is going to be the 3rd time. The first one was in 2012 when we lost our president, His Excellency Professor John Evans Atta-Mills. And in July 2012 in Parliament, Chief Justice Georgina Wood saw John Mahama. Then he was the vice president to become the president. And then after the election, which he won, he was then taken through the whole process again, and he also swore using that sword, making it the 2nd time. And we're going to have the 3rd time today of this event that is going to happen. And this is not, as I stated earlier, not just an inauguration. It is also a history-making moment for us as a country, and it's a very proud one for all of us. And our guest here in the studio is lawyer Yawa Noche Frimpong, who he's a lawyer and he's also a historian. He's also a historian who is giving us details into exactly some of the happenings and what to actually look out for and the meanings of the things actually happening today and what you're also watching on the screen. My name is George and I'm here with Thelma taking you through this. We have our colleagues who are also at the Black Star Square. We're getting us various reports. We started with Morris. We took reports also from the various regions to where we took you to John Mahama'S Senior High School. That's Ghana School. Yes, where he was also as I think a dome prefect there.
Yeah, Cabral House, I think is the name is.
We were also taken to his room where he was a prefect there.
I see.
Yes, and those days the senior high school called it a cubicle. Yes.
Perfect bunk.
Yes. All right, so on your screen now you have the arrival of the dignitaries that are actually coming in. We have about 21 of African leaders coming in.
I believe
what you
this
just
is
saw
the
on your screen
Namibia
is Namibia.
Okay.
That is actually coming, the Namibian president that is also coming in. We have a number of the presidents coming in. Like stated earlier, when the president-elect actually won and he was announced as president-elect, he visited some countries, and especially some neighboring countries here around us in Ghana. And so far, we have the president of Gabon confirming, they're actually in town though, that of Gabon, Botswana, Nigeria, Gambia, and also Guinea-Bissau. We have the vice president of Tanzania, Namibia, also coming in. That's him there exchanging pleasantries with some other leaders. That's Jacob Zuma of South Africa, former president of South Africa. And that's a huge one.
Very huge.
That's a big one for us here in Ghana. And then Liberia, Kenya, Sierra Leone, Equatorial Guinea, the vice president coming through. Uganda's vice president also coming in. And then the Democratic Republic of Congo, a country that is the richest country in the world. That's the Democratic Republic of Congo. Yeah, otherwise, yes.
A lot of.
Because richest country because they have every mineral in the world in that particular country. Yes.
$1 trillion. And it's one of the poorest countries.
And it's one of the poorest countries. It's actually supposed to be one of the richest countries in the world.
I can't wrap my head around it. And it brings, one of the things that President Kuffour, still president.
These teams that to put the interests of the state first. and not see the positions as a reward for their contributions or sacrifices for the party. And so I equally welcome his decisions to form an all-inclusive government, meaning that it's going to tap from different ideologies and philosophies, and that is how you build a national government. And so we need to really put these policies, economic policies in place that will help us to develop the economy locally. Now you also look at the issues about industrialization that even the outgoing government has championed through one district, one factory. And so if there is the need for us to develop the local areas, to develop the potentials in the local economy, then there is the need for us to develop the local government structure. So this local government structure will actually relieve the central government from unnecessary tensions and responsibilities, and also develop the local areas so that issues about rural-urban migrations will be kept, because the process where the rural folks migrate to the urban centers sitting for white-collar jobs are not existent. So we need to really work very hard to be able to develop this portfolio. We also look at if really we want to champion domestication through agribusiness and agro-processing, and also develop the pharmaceutical industry, develop the petrochemical industry, because Ghana is now exploring oil. Why do we continue to export our crude to Dubai and UK, and so refine them at a cost and bring it back to Ghana at a cost? Now, if we are able to refine our oil in Ghana, at least 70% of our domestic consumption in Ghana, it will help us. Even the byproduct, which we use for the asphalt and the quota, will also help us to develop the transportation system. So it's all about economic engineering. And so once we put the interests of the state first and foremost, I believe the current administration is likely to make inroads. But if we are not careful and we just stuff the system with partisan interest people, definitely what happens to MPP is likely to happen. And so we need to be very mindful that Ghanaians voted for change. Ghanaians have not necessarily voted for NDC. They have just voted for change, and that change must happen.
Yes, that change must happen. I'm say, Doctor.
Yeah, 97.
Yeah. So definitely, it will not be the same feeling. It's like Pele 3 times was at the World Cup on the field, and then at a certain time now he becomes an observer. You can't say the feeling is the same. You will miss a lot of things because the previous ones, you see that the whole West's attention was on you. Now the attention has shifted, and you come here only as a passive participant, not an active recipient.
That's a beautiful aerial shot there. So what you're seeing the arch there, and right behind the arch is the ocean, and it's a beautiful
the Gulf of Guinea. It's a beautiful sunny day.
You can also see that we have not really developed the beach well, because some other part of the world you see very monumental.
But do we want to see, because we know what beachfronts have brought us recently, and ownership of these beachfronts have become controversial, and transfer of ownership of beachfront properties have also become even more controversial. Do we want to see the beach area behind the Independence Arch change? I personally want it to just remain like this. Like, don't touch it. Put some grass there, put some but leave it.
So now even the grass you are talking about is not there. You understand?
The grass I want, but I don't want any buildings there. They should just leave that place. Leave that place.
All right, listeners and viewers, this is our coverage of the inauguration of the president-elect, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, who's actually staged a comeback. And it's been a very decisive comeback. But yeah, let me find out. Fine, he was going to contest, and the likelihood of he winning was just a 50-50, because nobody was so sure about that. But with the kind of victory recorded, was this something expected?
The victory recorded?
Yes.
No, it was something that was not expected. He himself knew he was going to win,
but not with this kind.
Yes, not that margin. And in fact, all the posters knew there was going to be a change, but they didn't know it was going to be sweeping. This one has been so comprehensive.
Comparative to 92?
Because 92, the opposition did not put in any much effort. And then the 92, the playing ground, as we all know, was not level. It was not even, And that one, you don't blame the soldiers. It was just a transition. And once the certain head of state decides to contest, there is no way an election will surprise him. Never. Nowhere in the world.
I think that on a day like this, I want to bring also into focus the memory of the first vice president to take the oath of president after winning the election, His Excellency, our late President John Evans Atta Mills, who is resting just a few meters from this monumental grounds at Asumdwe Park.
All right. Now, just to briefly take you through the process that actually led us to this significant day and what's happening now. We went into an election on December 7, 2024 to elect leaders, members of parliament, and then a president. That was after a very interesting campaign put together by political parties in this country. And since we're practicing democracy, we had more than 2 political parties taking part in this, but obviously
13 minus 1.
13 minus 1. But obviously 2 of them actually dominating. And what you're seeing now are pictures from just around the Black Star Square and the number of people actually there. So there we have it. We have a former president, John Kuffour. Next to him is the vice president, who very soon will no more become the vice president.
Will become the former vice president.
That is Dr. Bawumia, who actually contested against the president-elect John Dramani Mahama. And next to him is his wife, that's Samira Bawumia. And then next to Samira is Dr. Konadu Rawlings, also there. So back to the entire process that led us to this particular occasion. And after the election on December 7, on the 9th, the Electoral Commission